Okay, hello everyone. I'm your host Luke. This is my lovely co-host Bingham. He's my emotional support while I'm reading through what are people's encounters with the police from around the country. I'm sure this will be a very riveting video. I guess viewer discretion is advised, but my cat will help me stay calm. He's very tired, aren't you? Oh, yes, you're very tired, yes. So, this all started with a tweet on Twitter, because I don't know where else you would tweet. With someone asking, I'm curious, how many of you have had bad encounters with the police? I listed one of my own saying, I've been pulled over once for going through one of those right lane must turn right signs. I got I believe, $150 ticket. I don't think I've really had any other encounters with the police, which is not surprising. So another person said, took a poll amongst our current staff. 100% of us have had bad encounters with the police, which would be 6 individuals. And while I am reading these, I have no way, shape, or form to verify how these happened, why these happened. Is the person leaving a part out? I don't know. I'm just reading off a Twitter thread. Another person said, in the last 5 years, I've been pulled over or stopped while walking, jogging, walking my dog, roughly around 20 plus times. When I was a teenager, a bunch of us went into this abandoned house to drink, and one of the guys there was dumb and set fire to the curtains. When the police arrived, they arrested the one of us who was black, who didn't set the fire and let everyone else go. When I was 8, a cop came to my house and told me I was going to go to jail for ruining my neighbor's flowers, even though I didn't do it. And he told me that if I didn't confess, it was going to be worse for me. It was the real start of my distrust of men in authority. I was 15 and a busboy in a hotel restaurant. Detectives told me that another guy had confessed that 3 of us were stealing from the rooms. Full good cop, bad cop treatment. Quote, he confessed, if you don't, you'll be in big trouble. All lies, it was the housekeeper who had the keys. I have dozens of times in Toronto as a young black person, and I'm including the times I've been a bystander of police harassment while with black male friends, nothing new to us. When I was in middle school, I had long hair, wore hooded every day, and wore baggy pants because they were comfortable, and a lot of my clothes were hand-me-downs from my older brother. I also spoke in a way that made me sound a bit like a pothead. Long story short, because of the way I dressed and talked, the police officer and a lot of my teachers thought I was a pothead and would constantly make remarks and kind of harass me low key. Extremely minimal compared to most, but he was harassed, threatened, and arrested for climbing the exterior of a building and enjoying a moonlit lake/summer breeze on the rooftop patio of a waterfront public property. Been spread over the back of my car half-mile from my house for being in the wrong neighborhood. Had to hide behind file cabinets in a place I worked because cops had guns drawn on a suspect pointing towards the front of the building, feet away from me. Why does that keep happening? Since May, when I first started sleeping in my car, being woken up by them while sleeping in parking lots, to August being followed to my hotel or kicked out of hotels because I couldn't pay on time, etc. I've been harassed and ticketed more being homeless than when I wasn't. One time I was arrested for driving with a suspended license, and I heard the cops beating on some guy in another cell. He came out all bloody. One kid in school whose dad was chief of police in town over used to call not saying that part. When I was a teenager, a bunch of us went I had been arrested twice. Oddly enough, the being arrested part was the only bad part of the experience. During the second arrest, one of the cops even apologized for arresting him. I used to work at a factory here in the UK, and lots of horrible things happened there. I'm not saying that. And when I tried to report it to the police, they sent 2 officers to my house to tell her she was being paranoid and saying things. The woman says, "Yes, I was beat up, so I called the cops. The guy said I bit him, so that's why he hit me. I didn't realize at the time when he bashed her head in, she was wearing a hair clip that broke into his hand. Cops ran to take her to jail. Didn't do anything to him." I'm not a person of color, but I look a lot like one. I was pulled over while on my L's, whatever that means, and asked if the car was stolen. I handed over my license and obeyed, but the moment the cop asked if I had stolen the car, I realized I wasn't pulled over randomly. One, this guy robbed me and paid someone the money to be his getaway driver, so I chased them. We ended up getting into an accident, but they wouldn't let me explain my side of the story. But basically, she got 2 tickets. So here's a woman that says, "I have PTSD from encounters with the cops." She was a medical marijuana activist. They raided her house, held her husband and her at gunpoint while breaking up all the furniture in our house and torturing our animals in front of us. My brother pressed the panic button on our home security system. Went outside to tell the cops it was an accident. On their knees, ankles crossed, hands in the air with a gun to their head. He was 12. They pulled me over and asked if I was some girl named Sarah. Another time they tried to tell me I was in a school zone for a school that had been empty for 5 years. Called them when my house was robbed, and they never looked for the people even though it had just happened. My car got hit, my face was bleeding, was told, quote, "Little girl, I'm going to send you back home to New York," all while tapping his holster gun. This was after he drove onto the sidewalk and almost hit her. I complained about that and how he wouldn't take my statement. Then she got threatened. One, I had a family member, blah. She was a minor at the time. The cop told her if they ever called again, he'd put me in foster care. So when it happened again, I didn't dare call. Also had a cop blame me for getting robbed. Yeah, I will say that. The cops, when they respond to that kind of incident, they usually say it's your fault. Once arrested for asking an officer why he wanted to see my license, they see that as resisting. Another time I complied with an absurd request to step out of my parked vehicle because someone thought they were acting suspiciously. An ex stalking me found my apartment and was outside yelling. Neighbors called the cops. Cops let him into her apartment for no reason. He went after me and tackled the two cops, arrested at a courthouse. He and his lawyer threatened her until she left. When I was getting booked once, the nurse asked if I was actually 5'10", and I said I think I'm a bit taller, but that's what it says on my license. The cop standing behind them punched him in the back of the head